Heyo, Omni Dogs and Omni Kittens. It's Omni Dog. Thanks for tuning in. I found some good books this week. It was going to be what I read this week, but I think they're all kind of hidden gems. I haven't heard about these books in the general discussion of comics, so I'm going to consider them hidden gems. And hopefully you will find some books in here that I review that pique your interest. So as a quick aside, I want to thank everybody for all your well wishes. I haven't been feeling well. I actually haven't, this is just going to be short. I haven't been feeling well for over a year now. I have this incredible pain in my abdominal area below my stomach, and they can't diagnose what it is. I've undergone every test known to man. So the good thing is they didn't find anything. That's good. The bad thing is they didn't find anything. So it's undiagnosed pain, and it is incredibly severe. So on the 19th of July, I'm having a pain pump installed, which will deliver pain meds to my body without having to take oral medication anymore. Hopefully that'll take care of the problem and I can have my life back, and I'll be able to put out videos more regularly, do Instagram and all that other stuff. So I appreciate all your well wishes, and it means everything to me that anybody would take time out of their day to wish me well, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So hopefully everything will be fine after the surgery. So we will see. So on to the books. Let's see. We will start with, maybe you've heard of some of these books. These are books I haven't heard of. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Weird by Kurt Pyers by Dark Horse. This is really great. It won't be a new concept to you out there. It's an agent, a special agent that can't be killed. It starts out really in a cool way. It starts out like this, and it's a sequence where he's trying to kill himself. You've probably seen this kind of concept before, where somebody that lives forever is sent on secret missions, and they can't kill themselves. They're sent in because they're invincible. What makes this book really good, in my opinion, really readable and really worth your money, I think this is a buy, this should be in your library, is the kind of missions he gets sent on are really inventive and really cool. Especially one mission he's sent on that deals with a young boy who is similar to Superman. I don't want to say anything well, it's a boy, so he's Superboy, but he's got alien artifacts that came with him, and Agent Weird, his name's Piotr Weird, is sent to take him out. More things are happening than you know, and it is really, really interesting what happens. Really cool what happens. So he's sent after really interesting and incredibly inventive foes to take out. It's written really well. I like the art. See if I can give you some more pictures of it. And it's got a little bit of Warren Ellis to it, I think. It feels a little Warren Ellis-y when he's sent to a world. Let's see if I can get to it. It's near the end of the book. Okay, he's sent to, the art changes, and he's sent to a bit of an odd world. And the world exists transdimensionally, on a different plane. It's a world. It starts off with a Hunter S. Thompson type character telling him to get out of there, and he just wants the Agent Weird just wants to talk to him, and he ends up visiting this interdimensional city that reappears back in time because it is powered by uranium, and they have to come back every 8 to 10 years to find uranium to power their interdimensional, I don't want to give anything away, okay, to power their interdimensional city. It's a city of the future. As a matter of fact, this whole thing's set in the future, 2049. So it deals with a lot of really interesting, cool technology. It's got a very Warren Ellis, as I said, touch to it. The book ends on kind of a cliffhangery note, but when you think about, and this is the only collection I could find, I researched it, and this is all that's been published, and I haven't heard of the writer going back to it. The book ends on an obvious play on Harvey Weinstein and Miramax Pictures. You might think it's a cliffhanger, but if you think the whole book through, you'll know that it's really not a cliffhanger. It is just really great. I really enjoyed it. I wish there was more. I'd love to see more of this Agent Weird, because there's plenty of intrigue going on behind the scenes. Obviously, it's a special section of the government, the black box type of government thing that you don't know about, that the U.S. government, I assume it's the U.S. government because he's always sent into all these different places, and he tries to kill himself all the time, and he can't kill himself. Written by Kurt Pierce, and drawn by Antonio Fuso. 100% get this and read it. It's great. I loved it. The next book I also read and loved. I hope that it is, that there is more coming of this. It's labeled Volume 1, and it ends on a note that could lead to more, although if it just stops right here, that's fine. It's written by Benjamin Percy, who's a good writer. It's called Devil's Highway, and it involves human trafficking. Of course, in women, I know human trafficking goes on all the time, unfortunately. This is about, I don't want to give too much away as always, but it involves truckers this isn't human trafficking. This is serial killer stuff. So it's actually kind of disturbing, but it is really interesting, really well drawn, really well written, and it deals with serial killers amongst the trucker community. And the woman who has decided to set out and find the killer of her father accidentally got in the way of a woman escaping one of these truckers who had captured her to try to become one of his victims. And this woman shows up at the sheriff's office of this small town and says, "I want my father's case file." And she turns out to be a super badass from who has served time in the armed forces, and like high level armed forces. She totally can take care of herself, and the people who underestimate her end up really paying the price for it. So she starts her own investigation. All she wants to find out at first is finding out who kills her father. It leads into a really deep, twisting path where she connects up with a investigator that got consumed by the case and let go by his superiors because he was too involved in it. It consumed him, and he ends up being partners with this woman, and it is written like a thriller, it's got disturbing imagery in it. I'll tell you right away because it deals with serial killers, but it's very much a thriller, very well written, exciting, pulse pounding entertainment, and I love it. She's a strong female protagonist who totally kicks ass, and not only, well, I don't want to say that. That gives too much away. This totally belongs in your library, and I hope Benjamin Percy writes more. Devil's Highway Volume 1. This is by, first book was by Dark Horse. This is by AWA Upshot. AWA Upshot. This is just a fantastic, exciting, really well written book that you are going to really dig. If I dug it, you're gonna dig it. I wouldn't recommend anything that I didn't totally love, and I totally loved this. So be sure to check out Devil's Highway. Another book by AWA Upshot is called Bad Mother. Now this is volume 1, but I feel it's by Christina Faust with art by the famous and fantastic Mike Deodato Jr. Maybe it goes on to volume 2, but it seems one and done to me. It's a case, this one's about human trafficking. And this is about a small town where this woman's daughter goes missing. And it's what the woman does to find her missing daughter. And everybody in the community seems to be corrupt, and so it's her versus the community. I want to show you some more of the art without giving too much away. The art's really good, and the writing is really good. It's a bit, kind of a little bit of a Taken situation from the movie Taken, where the woman does everything she can, although she doesn't have special forces training to back her up. It's very well thought out and conceivable what she goes through to try and find her daughter. It's a real thriller, and it deals with as I said, it deals with human trafficking. So it's got some grisly parts in it. So just so you're warned. I really enjoyed this. This is another strong female protagonist, and the mother who wants her child back and will do absolutely anything to get her back. And what she goes through to get her back is boss. It is really, really well done, really well written, and really well drawn. So I 100% recommend from AWA Upshot, Bad Mother. Yeah, this was really good. I was really, I got it just because of the description, and it paid off. I was really pumped how exciting and fun this book was. And, you know, it was fun. It was fun to see her track her daughter down, what she had to go through, what she thought of, how creative she got, how methodical she was. It's really cool. So I highly recommend Bad Mother. The next book is from Boom, and it's called An Unkindness of Ravens. So this is a witch book, and I love witches and occult things. It's about a teenager that shows up in a new town that her father grew up in and moved them away. Her family, her mom and her sister got moved away, and it starts out by giving a history of witches as written by this librarian in the town. And it quickly becomes apparent that there is a rivalry in this town. The Ravens are the young witches, and then there are the other side, where the mean girls are part of, especially that mean girl right there. And the girl shows up, and she looks exactly like a girl. She shows up on her first day at school, at the new school for her, and she looks exactly like the girl who just disappeared that was a raven. The raven being the young witches. And it turns out, at first you think the ravens are just a bunch of goth girls, but they turn out to be kind of the good guys in this. This is the first book in a series, I assume, because it definitely finishes off needing a volume 2 and or 3. It's written so that it can go on for a while. The town is called Crab's Eye, and Wilma's the new girl in school. She plans to go completely unnoticed. La 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 la. Salem witch trials. Her father's not been completely honest about his upbringing in Crab's Eye, she comes to find out. So this, the blurb on the back says it's a love child of Clueless and The Craft. And that's that's a pretty good way to put it. Everybody in the town seems to be divided into two groups. There's a lot of magic power used for good and for ill in the town. I don't know yet how it's going to turn out. This first book I thought was very good and enough to make me want to read volume 2. So since it isn't, I believe it should be, if it's not an ongoing series, it should be, but I think it is, because this just collects 1 through 5 and it's very much unfinished. So you might want to rent it and see if you dig it. And if you do, then you can get it and follow along until the next trade paperback comes out. I enjoyed it, but I think there's it's a good setup. It needs a little bit more going on. There are a lot of holes that need to be filled. There's a lot of plot points that haven't been met yet. But I feel like volume 2 will solve all those and set it up for completion, maybe in volume 3. I see this as a good 12 to 15 issue series. This is from Boom, and it's an Unkindness of Ravens. So I enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to trade paperback number 2 to sort of make it more of a whole. The next book is from Vault. It's a 2-volume set called The Plot. I think it's by, let's see, this is written by Tim Daniel and Michael Moretti, drawn by Joshua Hickson. It's probably going to seem a little familiar to you. It's about a guy who goes back to his hometown. It's got a kind of a Lock and Key vibe to it. It's a guy that goes back to his hometown because he inherits his niece and nephew, and there's a house there in his hometown that's his, that he also inherited. And the house is, of course, completely haunted, and he is trying to protect his niece and nephew. And there's a lot of odd stuff going on in the house. There's a lot of odd stuff going on in the town, but mostly in the house. The townspeople are generally on the up and up. The cops are on the up and up. They want to help, but the guy When Chase Blaine's estranged brother and sister-in-law are murdered, he becomes guardian to Mackenzie and Zach, the niece and nephew he hardly knows. Seeking stability for the children, Chase moves his newly formed family to his ancestral home in Cape Augusta, which overlooks a deep black bogland teeming with family secrets. So that's what this is about. So I enjoyed this book, but it was very familiar to me. So I'm not saying the authors copied anything, but it was full of, it had a lock and key vibe to it, where the guy had to go back and all kinds of family secrets are uncovered, and through the house presents all kinds of otherworldly, crazy traps to try and catch and kill them. And I will say the art is really good. It's 2 volumes from Vault, and I liked it a lot, but it also didn't seem highly original to me. But it was still interesting enough that I cared about the characters and wanted them to do well and not get killed. I mean, I wasn't actively rooting for them to get killed, so that's a good, point. I wanted them to be okay. So I think this is probably a solid digital read for you, just because I think that it will feel like something you've read before. It's a different twist on a familiar tale. How about if I say it that way? So that's the plot from Vault. And that's it for the hidden gems that I found, and that's what I read this week. So thank you for tuning in. Peace and love, peace and love. Please hit the like button. Feel free to comment. Please subscribe. And I appreciate all of you for watching and being fans of the channel. You mean a lot to me. I really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Peace and love, peace and love.